But today, in the next 45 minutes, we're going to talk through an alternative system that we have introduced in Web of Science. It's a couple of years now, but it's only as of last summer that it became available to everybody on Web of Science, even if you did not have access to Insights. So we're going to go live and we're going to see exactly the advantage of using that system. We're going to talk about how and where it came from, and we're going to see some topical searches together live in the platform to give you an appreciation of how it needs to be used. To do that, I'm actually going to stop my video while I am presenting because I don't want to disturb the actual presentation and draw too much bandwidth to the presentation. So I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. So I will stop every 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to take a look and we'll get you all your questions. There's going to be time also at the end where you can go and ask questions. Okay. So without any further ado, let me start by sharing my screen. I want to give you a bit of background beforehand about how this came about, and then we're going to go live into the Web of Science. For those of you that are just joining us, my name is Daphne Grecki. I'm one of the customer success consultants here in California, and topic of today is the citation topics in the Web of Science. So there we go. So this is the landing page of the Web of Science. If for some reason you're not seeing it, if there's something, just please unmute yourself and ask me, or, I'll be periodically looking at the chat as well. The first link I wanted to show you, and then you'll be looking at this in the chat too, because I'm going to put a link in there as well, is Citation Topics. So you can find more information about it if you go, actually gonna put that and actually copy and paste it in the chat right now. So why don't we just do that quickly? If I do put it in the chat. Okay, just 1 second, because here I have to stop sharing when I move back. Here is the link. I just want you guys to have it. There you go, directly in there. So the link I just put in the chat is the whole help file that you have on Web of Science, and that will help you, know how and when to use the citation topics. But first of all, what are they? What do we mean by citation topics? So it's a schema, just like you have the Web of Science categories. The citation topic is a research area schema, and what this is algorithmically derived, right? It's created through an algorithm, and it was originally developed by the Center for Science and Technology in Leiden in the Netherlands. So the CWTS in Leiden have co-partnered with ISI, with the Institute of Scientific Information at Clarivate, for a while. And a couple of years ago, they were working on this 3-level hierarchical category to provide a more accurate and a more granular document level classification system. So you're going to see that there are 3 levels. We're going to see this live in a minute too. There are 3 levels to this category. The levels are macro, meso, and micro. And what do these do? So they are organized in that way to provide you with a really accurate way of segmenting science and technology, as well as social sciences. So anything you're searching. This is because think about the publishers way of classifying journals and science, technology generally. We always have found, the feedback that we got from the market always was that those, in Web of Science, you do have 254 categories, which help, they are granular enough, but sometimes you run into areas of science or technology that need more granular sub-categorization for you to be able to correctly and easily break down the body of work you're reading, the body of work you're analyzing. So this was a project that we decided to collaborate on with CWTS And the good news is, it's been introduced at Clarivate 2 years ago. For the first year, this was actually only available to a customer that subscribed to Insights Benchmarking and Analytics, which is a benchmarking tool. But then last year, this was made available, was made visible within the Web of Science to everybody also that has a Web of Science subscription, just because of how much is being requested and how is people were using it, providing great feedback. So this is why we are, even a year later, we're talking about it right now. Just really want to encourage people to really use it. So how are these created? We're about to go and look at them live. I think that from here, you can probably already guess by looking at the number of entities in each level. The macro topics is the overarching level of citation topics. So this is going to be a broader classification area, classification system. Then the next level down is meso topics. So this is the medium, right, breakdown of the citation topics. And then last one is when you get really, really granular. And this can be massively helpful when, again, you are, you've done your landscape search, your landscape discovery search, you found your body of work, you're sub-searching it, and then you're either comparing data sets or you're trying to characterize a particular data set to understand, what makes it specifics or what is new or novel about that particular data set. If the Web of Science category says or chemistry, organic or inorganic, that on its own will not be sufficient to help you really understand what are the differences and what are the, what is the specificity of the particular body of work and results that you're looking at. So this is where this is going to greatly help. So how did this happen? What is the method behind it? I think this is really, really important to look at the method, because you need to know, how things are classified and what was the rationale behind it. So the documents that are applicable, that are included in this clustering, are all documents from 1980 through to present. So remember that when you're doing your search and you're limited by time frame, and they are put in the cluster based on their cited and citing relationship in this cluster creating algorithm that was designed by Leiden. So their algorithm that they already had, the role that ISI had was to take their algorithm, and when the algorithm was creating groups, ISI helped create the labels of those groups and made sure that those labels were meaningful and would help, really provide a good taxonomy that would help people go further in classifying documents and references. So so we said we've clustered documents from 1980 to present. Citations, citing documents, cited document pre-1980, they're included as well when it comes to citation. And so really what you're looking at is, you're looking at this three level system where the manual labels actually be labeled manually. It's been, our editorial team at ISI and a product team, they have literally devised, these labels themselves. It's not, they're not generated by the algorithm. The algorithm just generates the grouping. And Leiden, you can actually go if you want, I put this page into the chat. If you see the second line, that is actually the reference of the original article. So if you're interested, if you have to, run instruction yourself and you want to explain this, or, just out of curiosity, you want to go a little further with your learning of this, you can go and read the article behind. So this article, by the guys at Leiden, will explain how their algorithm creates communities of papers, and the way that it spreads them apart or groups them together is through similarity. The similarity is established by the topics. So what do they talk about that makes them similar? What do they talk about, as well as what do they cite and are cited by? So that is what this is based on. So I told you about the labels. I told you that the labels are created by ISI. They're actually created by human interaction because it's an actual person that manually applies and creates the labels. And whereas, the numbering, which is um, a numeric structure that runs, through here. So the numbering is created by the algorithm. Let's go and have a look at a hierarchy. Then I'm going to show you one more thing. Check the chat, and then we're going to go live. Okay. So I just wanted to give you an initial appreciation as to the top level of this. And then when we go live, you're going to be able to see them in action. So the macro, so the upper level classification consists of 10 groupings. So everything that we're going to encounter that starts with 1, that means clinical and life sciences. Anything starts with 2 is chemistry. And what you'll learn is, I'll show you the live example in a couple of minutes, is that anything after these numbers will be the meso category. And then after the meso category, there's going to be another dot, and then it's going to be followed by the micro topics, the lower, most granular level of article level classification that you can encounter here. Okay. The last link that I actually wanted to show you, let me see if it's showing up in here. Yes, it is. It's a good time to show you this because then as I switch gears and go back into my Web of Science live search, I'm going to stop by the chat, check the question, but then I'm going to drop into the chat this other link that I really want you to have, so let me go and copy it. Okay, so this link, gives you the background. So this is when, we were preparing, the launch of this concept. Remember, this was initially created for insights, benchmarking and analytics. And I'm pretty sure that those of you on the line, even if not necessarily your institution conducts benchmarking against their peers, or, if you have you're joining me from an academic institution, if your research office, has a benchmarking tool, but you can already guess why the citation topic classification is a really good tool is benchmarking, because it allows you to compare at a really granular level. But because it was so useful in helping navigate a body of work or results set, that's when we decided to make it, to push it out to all Web of Science users, and to make it available not only in the benchmarking tool, which is separate from the Web of Science platform, and we also made it available in the Web of Science platform itself. So this is the blog that product management had published then. I will drop into the chat because it's a nice read, and it gives you a little bit more information than what I gave you just now in terms of how many article level topics they had in the beginning. They used to cluster almost 70 million documents, and then it goes into more detail as to how these are generated. So 10 broad macro topics that we said, 326 meso, and then over actually 2,400 micro topics. It does use citation topic, as we said, is in the benchmarking tool as well. So here you got a little bit of history. So let me go back into the chat really quickly, and then let me put this link here for you. Okay. There you go. For some reason, the second link is there as well. Okay, great. So, so now that you have that link, this is the time that we get to go live. I am not going to plan on using any PowerPoint for this presentation because I really do believe that the power of the citation topics is better experienced live. So you get to see it. I think in those links, you've got enough, background information to understand the why, the what we did. So without any further ado, let's go into the live platform. And by the way, I'm going to mention this here. I know that we have quite a few attendees today. If you're joining me today from a institution and you have got access to the Web of Science, you're in the library, or the reference desk, or any role anywhere that you have within the library, please, if you find that the students or even other librarians, would benefit by a quick, even one-on-one, training on citation topics, just feel free to contact your relationship person in the country that you're in. That could be a sales relationship person or any member of the customer success team that you already speak with, and they can facilitate that for you. They can take half an hour and help you, perhaps, identify the most relevant citation topic for your publications. So for your own institutionally authored body of work, or for specific authors that you're looking for. If not, it is pretty straightforward. And also remember, I'm going to mention it now before I run the demo, so I don't forget. Also remember that anytime you're on the Web of Science, at the bottom right-hand side, you have this question mark right here. It's in the purple dot here, the big purple dot. And this opens your resources center. So here is where, not only you find any product updates that we release, and there's always, quite a heavy schedule. Here you get to learn more about the product update, but also you have also access to guided tours and training, including recorded training. So you can always, if you don't want to do one-on-one, you always have here all the help that you need, via this resource center. Okay, so without any further ado, we're going to do a demo. So where are you going to find the citation topics and how to use them? So the citation topics apply to the core collection. So when we say core collection, you're going to go on here, which is my landing page, and see that what's in core collection. You should all have, more or less, depending on what your institution subscribes to, a combination of these. So I know that some of you probably may just have just a science citation index. Most of you will probably have all three. This is what we call flagship. And then you have the conferences, the books, and then some of the chemical indices, and as well as the emerging sources, which is the one that goes back to 2005. And this one, unlike the three flagship indices, what makes emerging sources citation index different is that this goes and indexes high quality, very trustworthy journal that are perhaps newer and that perhaps haven't yet met all the high impact criteria that a journal needs to have to be promoted to one of the top three here. But nevertheless, emerging sources contain very crucial, very important journals that are either up and coming, or they are simply having they are very high quality for a region. So if they haven't yet made, international impact at a specific level for their category, that's probably why you're not yet seeing them here. But if your institution subscribes to it, always make sure when you're doing a search in a core collection that you include the emerging sources. By default, either way, when you land on the core collection, it's always going to be selected. So I was just going through to point out, what's in core collection. For those of you that perhaps, may not be as familiar, and just as a reminder, always go and select everything you have in there. So this is where we run a topic search, so it's very simple. I'm in the document fielded search. This is a search form where you can go and add more fields. If you're an expert searcher, you can go into the advanced search. I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to keep it very simple. Do topic, and here in topic, I'm just going to do, for example, I'm just going to type water processing. You go. So if I just do water processing in the topic and I hit search, you go. So I'm finding a high number of results, okay? And typically what you would do at this stage is you would either click again in here and you would stop search. As you see, the interface for subsearching pops up again. So you can just add anything else that you want, and I could say and pollution, for example, right? Actually, why don't we do that? I'm going to say and, again, topic. I'm just going to type pollution. And now I've reduced it down to 34,000. And then typically you go and look at the filters here, learning that in this result set, you go 588 that are highly cited papers. That means that the number of citations that they've received places them in the top 1% of their respective fields in terms of citations that received, whereas the field underneath places 15 papers in the top 0.1% of citation. Based on the number of citations, 15 records have received in their respective scientific areas. So this, I would say, is what we could call the cream of the crop. These are the 15 most influential, impactful results out of the 34,000. And then the one above, 588, is the second level. It's the highly cited. So the second most highly influential papers, 0.1% by 1%. Then you learn that a third of these are open access. Some have associated data, so 250 of these have a associated data set that the authors have are referencing. That means that these are 250 articles or papers are by authors that when they wrote the paper, they also on the side conducted either some measurements or they have a data set or did a survey that the article refers to. So they've gone and deposited the data into an open repository that we not only index, but we connect it to the literature in the paper. So this is what associated data means, that 250 of these have some associated data sets. And you'll see them, when you scroll, you'll see the icon, and that's how you know. But let's just go straight into the citation topics. So at this stage, you'll be using some of the tools at the top, and then I know that 33,000 is way too many results. Plus, I also know that I'm not quite yet into the sub search, into the narrow down, area that I want to analyze. I want to go much more granular with my filtering. So what can I do? So typically you would keep sub-searching, or you will begin looking at the Web of Science categories as a filter. And as a reminder, again, there are 254 Web of Science categories. They do mirror the publisher classification of journals, and you see them here, the top 5. So most of my results, as expected, are classified in environmental sciences, as well as water resources, engineering, environmental engineering, chemical engineering, and multidisciplinary geosciences. If you do CR, remember, this is always showing you the top 5. If you do CR, then you can see everything, the whole breakdown of that field across the data set. So this is good, this is nice and good in that, I can learn more about my data set. I've searched for water processing and pollution, and I'm learning some obvious things, such as there's over 1,000 papers that talk about, are about ecology. There's some that maybe I wasn't expecting, such as perhaps, history. Parasitology, I was expecting it, tropical medicine, maybe things that I wasn't yet, archaeology totally makes sense, but it was really, really good to be able to see it here. Now, here is where we get into the core of today's session and live demo. As I said, this is nice and good because you can select those that you want to explore and filter by, right, from 34,000, and you can say refine, or you can even say exclude. I don't care about these in those areas, refine or exclude. So this is nice and good. However, a lot of the time, depending on the need that you have to dissect the body of work, the results there, or even simply depending on the area of science that you are analyzing, this is still too broad. And the more the time goes by, the broader this will get, because journal publishers, are still, they're doing a good job at classifying journals, but they're not really keeping up. That process is not keeping up as fast with technology changes as we, on the other side of researchers, the researchers would like it to be or need it to be. So this is how the idea, the concept of the citation topics ended up and sparked, the collaboration with CWTCS Leiden and Clarivate and ISI. You see them right here on the left, so on the left, we're just presenting meso and micro, because macro, that's the one at the top, and that's the 12 ones that you saw in the beginning. So let me just click so that you see what we're looking at. So the first level that you don't see written there is these, the 10, the top 10, so 1 to 10. So the ones that we're presenting there is anything past these. So let me go back, here we go. So what does that mean? So let's open Meso. So that means that Meso here, the top 5 about this data set, we start with 2.90. So 2 is, remember, we just saw it, 2 is chemistry. So chemistry, and then after the 2, 90 is water treatment. Same here. You've got your top 5. I'm going to show you everything in here. And remember how you can also, these at the moment, they are presented by record count. So that means that you are seeing them displayed and they're ordered by, how many documents are in each, so this is a descending order. If you were specific about wanting to see, the classification by in alphabetical order, you could do that too. Sometimes we need to do that, right? To go through it by that, and so now you get to see it's not so much alphabetical order, but it's going by the citation topic number order. There you go. So see 104, 108, 113. I would say personally, when I'm using the citation topics, I actually go via this because it's interesting to me to see, how these go through the classification. But otherwise, this is perfectly fine when you're doing a quick analysis of your result set. This shows you where the most number of papers are classified. So we all have them in water treatment, herbicide and pesticides, phytoremediation, contamination, bioengineering, soil science, as we expected. Again, sometimes it's interesting to go and look at what is not as frequently published about. Here, gait and posture, for example, brain imaging. This is interesting. We could go and look at that. But let's take a look at the next level, and then we're going to go and open a record and see where exactly in one record that information is reported, right? So let me show you the third level of classification, which is here. Now, this is the micro. So micro, obviously, as you saw, starts so with the macro. So here we are studying chemistry, because that was the 2. And we also have 8 and 2, 3. So 8 was, go here again, click on the wrong link. So 8 was here, earth sciences, and 3 is agriculture. Okay. So earth sciences, 3 is agriculture. So let's go. And then for the meso topic, again, similar, you go and see what that implies. So we had a 290 here. So that means that this is going to talk about 3,881 are about water treatment, but then see how you can go further with the 27, and these are specifically about absorption. And further on, here 360 herbicide and pesticides, and here we specifically point out those that are about microplastic. The other reason why this is really helpful is that, the Web of Science is an international, it's a database, it's a resource that indexes, international papers and conferences. It's not just, from the English-speaking world. So you obviously are going to have authors that are writing their papers, using different vocabulary and language. That's going to vary depending on where that author is from, and that's going to determine, what terms they use. I do that myself. By the way, I'm from Italy. That is my first language, so not only have an accent when I speak English, but also when I explain specific concepts, I'll probably use different terms than one of my colleagues here, that is American and, was born here and, English is their first language, will express themselves, right? So this is why this is also really helpful, that when we are researching the literature, to be able to have an aid that isn't just keyword searching, but it can guide us, regardless of the search term that we would put in the search here at the top. The other thing why this is really helpful is that, as science by default, and so is technology, are multidisciplinary. So, you could think about like fuels even, you could look at fuels from a engineering point of view if you focus on, the effect of that particular fuel on the engine, does that particular type of octane in the fuel makes it more fuel efficient? What if it's a car? What if it's a truck? What if it's a plane, right? In fuel, you could look at fuel research about from a biological point of view or chemical point of view, what type of fuel, is it ethanol? Is it methanol? What type of fuel are we talking about? You can look at fuel from an ecology, environmental science. How environmentally friendly is it? What about pollution? Does it throw out a lot of carbon dioxide? So really, the angle at which you're going to look at scientific results and the scientific results you're going to find can vary depending on, not only the topic that the authors are choosing to write a paper about, but also depending on what angle within that topic, because a chemist is going to write it differently. A biologist is going to write around the same theme using different keywords. So this is why it's really, really important to be able to go beyond the vocabulary, beyond words, and also beyond journal classification category, and have at our disposal things such as, the citation topic, this very, very granular system. So now let's just see it in action. I'm going to pick something from the micro to then show you some papers. So here, let's go and look at something not as usual. So we are in water processing and pollution, and I wanted to go and segment this and go and find something that perhaps I wasn't expecting to be there, or go and identify some papers that are addressing a very specific side of pollution in water processing. So for example, okay, so here I'm looking at, see this person, that could be a good one, or super critical carbon, levels of carbon dioxide. That could be one. I get see a bio, the treasure, let's just go into electrokinetic remediation, because that's interesting how the pollution can be worked on. There's only 45 papers. So I'm going to click on that and refine. So if I had to refine this myself without using the citation topic, I would have had to have gone into either here or there and put remediation and put another keywords, but I wouldn't necessarily have obtained this result set, because this is not searching for remediation in the title, abstract, keywords from the author, clear reply. This is looking, remember, at the cluster that the paper is in, and it's looking at, the citing and cited references of that paper to make it relevant and say, oh, this is the topic this is what it's talking about, So it's using the inner relationships of citing and cited within that paper, and it's looking at its relation to other community of papers as established by the algorithm, the Leiden algorithm, to make that call on what the paper is about. So very powerful, because when we just utilize words, keywords, we know that there's always going to be some limitations, because of, you don't know how the author decided to express this. You don't know, or you may know where the author is from if you look at the paper, but just because of the multidisciplinarity of most areas of science, you never really know how a topic is addressed. So really good to be able to look at that. I'm going to go and open a couple to show you. First of all, let's go and sort by highly cited first. So I'm just going to go and do, instead of newest, I'm going to do highest citations first. And now I have a paper from 2015 that was published in Electrochimica Acta. I'm going to click on it to open it. And here you go. So it's pulled out. This is in yellow, search for water pollution. So that was in my actual keyword search. So remember, whenever you use a topic search, you're searching in the title, in the abstracts, as well as in the author keywords. And so it's found those, and then there you go, and then if I go and look at the rest of the information that is in here, I'm seeing that, keep going a little further down, and all the data field, there you go. So I'm seeing the journal information. I see that it's classified in electrochemistry, right? And I'm able to go and see, all the citing and cited that are here on the right hand side. You don't see the specifically, the citation topics within here within the no, sorry, you do see you see the keywords in here. The citation topic, what I meant to say, you're not going to see them in yellow, but you see them under the, because it's a refinement, so that's why it's not in yellow. But under categories and classification, we are showing you, so the research area is the standard larger, broader research area that run through the whole of the Web of Science platform. So that is the one that you use when you're doing all databases search. And say if you do all databases, you're going to search against Web of Science crop collection, and maybe Medline, and maybe Biosis, and maybe Derwent, the patent abstract database. And that single classification system that you use in all databases is called research areas. So we know that there you are within electrochemistry, but particularly for the citation topics, here they are. Showing you are, and this is really showing the 3 levels right here. So 7, we're in engineering material science. Particularly within 7, we are within geotechnical engineering, and then within that, we are in electrokinetic remediation. Now, what's even more powerful is that if you say, actually, this is exactly what I'm interested in, this is dynamic as a link you can click, and that generates a new result set with all results from that particular cluster, that micro level citation topic cluster. Then when you're in here, you can do a number of things. Remember, the analyze and the citation report work just as you use them for everything else during your Web of Science sessions, your Web of Science works. So let's quickly have a look. We are going to go into analyze results. We are going to go and, well, if I analyze by citation topic, it's going to tell me there's only one because we filter by that. But I could analyze by document type. So majority of these are articles. I could go and analyze by affiliation. So I'm learning that the Technical University of Denmark, Universidad de Castilla-La Mancha here, they also have 85 papers, the Chinese Academy of Science, and so on. Remember how you can change the limits here and make it a little bit wider, so this is a typical analyze as you always use it, okay? Another thing that I often recommend people use is, once you have either identify the cluster you want to look at, or you have used the cluster to reduce your body of work to a size that you're happy to work with, you can then also run a citation report on it. And why would be the advantage? What would be the reason? Well, you would use citation report to look at over the years. You already see that in this results set, there are publications that, apart from 2024, which is underway, people are publishing, look, more and more in this technology, right? In fact, if you go and see, the very first record goes back to 1905. So this is how long this technology has been going. But it's clearly in the last, decade or so, there's been more and more attention to this particular topic. So what you could do here is have a look at, over time, what year recorded the most publication of papers in this cluster, in this field, and then also which year was some of this material the most cited. Because what if you were helping a student identify the most cited paper? You wanted to show, well, the most cited paper you can identify by this, right? And by using the remember, highly cited is top 1%, and then for the hot papers, they would be the 0.1%. However, you may want to present this information in a graph, trended over time. So this is where you're going to go and use the citation report. And here it is. You can export the full report, by the way, or you can download the image if you want to include into your essay or your report. It's going to download the images, the JPEG itself. But now I have my 3,800 publications, and let's take a look. So as we saw, 1905, there was only more like 1, 2. Here we started to get 2, 3 papers. And then as we started to get in the 89, I'll probably say anything here. Let's just say in 2005, so the past 20 years, okay? People have been publishing more and more. Look, you just got to look at the lilac. These are the publication, and then here in violet, this is the citations. So what's interesting is that people were publishing more and more, but this material got also cited quite exponentially. Sorry, also more and more, until it got to a peak of 2021, where that the things in 2021 got really most highly cited. So that is really, really helpful information. Here, when you're in your advanced query builder, it's going to be right here. TMAC, TMSO, and TMIC. That's the code for the micro. You have to put them here. But if you're looking for those in a basic search, we haven't put a field yet, for those. And the last thing I was just saying, if you want to know what to type, because you're going to be, how do I know what the micro meso level field that I'm interested in is called? You refer to the help pages, right here, and here you got the actual. You can download the whole schema, all the updates, and just visit this every year, because the beauty of this is that not only tells you how it's come about, how it's algorithmically derived, but also if there's any updates because something changes, then this is we'll put the update, right there. So you see there's how it's clustered, the method that we use. So you can go and actually review, the foundational article papers that this is based off of, and then you have the structure right there. So